Okay.
So we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
I'd request everyone to mute your mics so that we don't have any disturbance. Can you see my slides as a full screen? Any thumbs up? Is it full screen now?
Yeah, it's visible, Anna.
Excellent. So today's discussion, welcome everyone. Good morning in the US. Good evening to our family, friends in India. Heartful Living, fourth session out of total of 6 sessions. So this means we are already past the halfway mark. Today we'll talk about silence, self-talk, observation, and silence, the time for managing stress. My disclosure is www.HilifeJourney.org, which is our project for the last 3-4 months since Corona started. We've moved the entire Heartful Living program online, and we invite you all to participate, log in, and every day use this as a diary to see how you're progressing in your own life inner journey. And this is totally free and meant as a self-help tool. Knowledge is what life has become all about. It grows with time and accumulates over generations. This is the reason for all the power and the success that we know of typically. This is the reason why we spend half our life accumulating knowledge, learning, education, gaining skills, and this allows us to form habits so that we can move through life easier. Self-inquiry, which is the program that we use to help cardiac patients, is, I would say, in many ways, the opposite of intellectual knowledge or logical pursuits, because this is actively unlearning. It is not transferable from generation to generation, unfortunately. You can give your inheritance of wealth, but not this self-inquiry. Not even to yourself. That I mean, every morning our day starts fresh. Wherever we are in our inner journey, we have to start every day from the beginning. This is what we were asked, what gives us energy in the morning? We have to find it every day. So this is the actual source of fulfillment and happiness. How can I say this confidently? Because so many cultures in different separate corners of the world maintained this for thousands of years. And only now, in the last, I would say, few hundred years, it is becoming so much more of a challenge to connect with this inner journey. And this self-inquiry allows us to embrace new challenges with so much more resilience. So I promised that we are already past the halfway mark. We talked about hunger, gratitude, experience, exercise with awareness and smile, ease, and we understood high life itself gives you back 80% or maybe 90% of responsibility towards your health. So we, the doctors, have much less responsibility. One more reminder to mute your mics. If you can voluntarily do that, we can keep going ahead. Next is what we are going to cover in the next 3 sessions. Today, we are going to cover self-talk, observation, and silence, SOS. And next Monday, we'll cover altruism, compassion, experience. But these are all fun. There is not much effort. The highest effort is with physical exercise and fasting, which we've already done. So what I'm trying to say is, if you bear with me through those last few weeks, the next 2-3 weeks is going to be so much more fun. So Ramana Maharishi is the master of self-inquiry. The question, who am I, will destroy all other thoughts. And like the stick used for stirring the fire, it itself gets destroyed, then will arise self-realization. Inquiry consists in retaining the mind in the self. Silence is the true teaching. So this is what Ramana Maharishi says. I don't know how many of us have participated in meditation. This, I would say, is a very refined form of self-inquiry. Directly asking the question, who am I? What is my life all about? So this is what Ramana Maharishi says. Silence is the truth. Silence is bliss. Silence is peace. And hence, silence is the self. So we'll spend 1 minute in silence trying to think what brought us to today's discussion. What are we all about? What do we want? What do we really, really want? The question is, who am I? Let us spend in silence for 1 minute, pondering the question, who am I?
ஒரு ஆன்லைன்ல இருக்காரா? ஓ, இந்த டைட்டில்.
நான் உள்ள போவா. சரி போயிட்டேன்.
Excellent. So today we will talk about how the stress gets to our heart. Then we'll understand what noise is, and thereby we can understand in a deeper way the silence that we are seeking. Are you able to see the full screen? Yes? So when we try to perform whatever activity, as the stress level gradually increases, our performance also gets better. So there is a healthy tension where we are motivated and focused. But in real life, what we find is our actual real stress because of so many challenges, now including the coronavirus, or because of perceived, that is our limited ability to cope. Either way, we may get into the danger zone, the red color, where our performance continues to decline as the stress levels increase. So we want to minimize stress, but if you look at some interesting studies, what we are seeing is, on average, this is the mean level of stress society faces. When the stress level increases, for instance, now because of the coronavirus, people's distress increases, stress symptoms increases, dissatisfaction increases. But if we are able to cut the stress down, all these things come down and life satisfaction will peak. But the highest life satisfaction is not at zero stress. If there was to be zero stress, when 100 people are asked this question, about 3 to 4 people said they had no stress at all. So if you look at them, their life was also not optimal. So there seems to be, for human beings to optimally perform, a small sweet spot where a limited amount of stress is needed. Unfortunately, on average, we have at least 2 times that stress. This is some years ago. In coronavirus world, I'm sure all of us are facing 3 to 4 times more stress than we want to handle. So if you look at severe depression in the United States, it was at 1% in 2006. Fast forward to the corona world. In the COVID world, from 1%, severe stress has gone up to 9%. That's a tremendous increase. And that is what US is facing. India, with lesser financial resources, with people not having financial buffering, if the virus does not get to people, it may be hunger that may threaten human life. So this is a very challenging world we live in with numerous stresses. This ECG shows atrial fibrillation, atrial flutter. All these are very fast heartbeats where the heart becomes very chaotic. This can happen because of mental stress. This is a process we call atherosclerosis. Unfortunately, it is starting in younger and younger ages. People now feel even by the age of 10 years, 15 years, there is evidence for atherosclerosis. But it takes about 20 years to progress, where you see the yellow color blocking the blood supply to the heart. Gradually that constricts the flow to the heart, and without the heart getting enough blood, it gets into angina and heart trouble, heart failure. Now, when that blockage suddenly becomes 100% because there is a clot developing, that is what we typically call heart attack, and that weakens the heart, and sometimes it can stop the heart suddenly and take life. So like I said, the arrhythmia, atherosclerosis, now heart attack, all these things can occur because of mental stress. We understand diabetes, smoking, high blood pressure, cholesterol, excess weight, all these things increase risk for heart attack. So many chemicals in the circulation, thrombotic situations, they all increase risk for heart attack. But it is so difficult, even in 2020, to recognize the role of mental stress in heart attack. So this is another example where Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, it is also called stress-induced cardiomyopathy. It can weaken the front of the heart, some of the heart, most of the heart, or just one focal area and look like a heart attack. But this can occur because of acute mental stress. And this does not require any atherosclerosis process. Somebody with clean angiogram, normal stress test, next day can develop this stress cardiomyopathy because of losing a job or sudden death in the family. Something can threaten our peace of mind that can stop our heart. That is what we have now recognized in the last 1 or 2 decades called stress cardiomyopathy. So in the background of all these processes, there is significant role for the mind and our perceived or real stress. In the COVID world, Takotsubo or stress cardiomyopathy and sudden cardiac death are increasing because of the substantial increase in perceived stress and real stress. We've been writing about this because my dad, Dr. Chokkalingam in Chennai, he has been doing this work for now 50 years. And I'm glad that I'm also a cardiologist, because this gives me an opportunity to understand this for my own health. Thereby, I can help my patients, understanding the role of stress and the heart. We've been publishing on this for so many years now. It's a very interesting paper that looks at cardiac rehab. And what they are saying is cardiac rehab does a lot of good for heart patients after bypass surgery and stenting. But if you add on top of cardiac rehab, stress management training, the benefit quickly doubles. So this is a very important message. When we try to prevent heart problems, we have to emphasize not only physical exercise and blood pressure control, but also emphasize how to deal with stress in a better way. So this is a very simple way of looking at our conscious mind and our heart. And we can say our freedom and ability to cope with stress comes from recognizing this gap between us and our logical mind. For this, I request all my friends to smile 20 times every waking hour. It ends up being once every 3 minutes. I have so many patients who can manage to smoke a cigarette every 3 minutes. So why not smile every 3 minutes? That's no cost. This has numerous benefits in disconnecting the heart from the mental stress. Connect with your inner nature. And to smile this many times, at the lip level, we can make it a habit and still get so many health benefits. But to really make this life experience, we need to connect with our deeper level of perception of gratitude for life itself. So, to cope with stress, we can maintain a diary of our priorities. We are really productive only when we specialize in things that inspire us. So, this is the secret of connecting every day with our life with more and more energy. So, to manage our time, document 3 things that you have to do, 3 things that you really enjoy doing, and 3 things that you hate doing in your day-to-day life. Now, focus on filling your life with the things that bring you joy, and if possible, find ways to outsource things that stress you. You will be surprised when you focus on things that inspire you, you have more and more flexibility with the things that you don't really enjoy. So this is a simple analogy. I'm sure you've come across this. When we are trying to fill this space with sand, then there is no room for the bigger stones. So if we first put in the stone, there is then so much more extra room to fill in the finer particles. So first take care of the things that are bringing you everyday fulfillment, happiness, energy. Then you can find the opportunity to fill the rest of your day with other things that need to be accomplished. So things are things that must be done, things that can be outsourced, and connecting again and again with what makes you alive every day, the fun stuff. Exercise has to be part of this. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but 150 minutes a week, we all need exercise. But please make it a fun event rather than a chore, one more thing to do in your day. We talked about flows, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, but as our skill level increases, for people who've joined today, let me quickly complete this also. As for instance, I play tennis. So as my skill level in tennis keeps getting better and better, and I find a player who has good amount of interest, I may have a chance to enter into flow. For instance, if I was playing with Novak Djokovic, the world's best tennis player, I'll be very anxious to get 1 or 2 points because his skill level is the challenge he poses to me will be too high and my skill level will be very low compared to his. But if I was to play tennis with my mother, who never played tennis, she took me to tennis when I was 4 years old. She liked to make me work. So if my skill level compared to her is much higher and the challenge she would pose to me would be very low, I'll be bored and apathetic. This was the highest level of I would say waste of time at that time in the 1970s when this was described. But now we have even more negative phenomena like social media that we have to look out for. I don't know how many of you have seen this. This is mandala painting, which is taking several days, sometimes weeks. This is all colored sand that they very carefully use in a pattern to create a beautiful artwork. It takes several people, several days to do this. And the reason I bring this is not to show how much effort it took them to do it, but they are doing this knowing for a few days people can enjoy it. But after that, they themselves, the artists who are doing this, will take a brush and clear out the board so that the board can be used for the next set of mandala painting. So this is not a permanent painting like Mona Lisa, although this has taken so many weeks of so many people's 100% dedicated effort. So this itself is a meditative practice. I use this as an analogy to life itself because whatever we accomplish in today's world, 2020, we are still transient. Nothing is going to change that. That itself is the nature of life. So that's what this Buddhist meditative practice is all about. So Ramana Maharishi says, peace is your inner state, natural state. It is the mind that obstructs this natural state. So now we will do a very simple exercise. You're all sitting in a chair, I'm assuming. Your chair may have an armrest that you can hold on to, or you can hold on to the desk. Touch something with your hand and give it as tight a squeeze as you can for 5, 10, 15 seconds. Let's start. I'll count for 15 seconds. Hold your breath. Give it as tight a squeeze as you can. Let's do that. Starting now. Squeeze. Tight, tight, tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, we can let go of that squeeze. For half a minute, we'll all stay quiet. Just try to be connected with your hands. Relax and connect with how relaxed they feel right now. Excellent. So the reason we did that squeezing actually allows us to relax even easier after that squeeze. That is what I think is the role of stress in our life. So we have to embrace the stress that life throws at us, but still we have to find that relaxation so that we find the balance that allows us to again and again connect with our inner nature and move through life successfully. So the simplest tips to cope with stress: smiling 20 times every waking hour, finding time first for your true priorities that fulfill you, give you meaning, give your life fun, and then spend 30 minutes doing some exercise. Hopefully,
Doctor, sorry.
Yes. Yes, somebody was.
Dr. Jeshri from India, good evening.
Good evening.
Just one question. How do you smile 20 times, consciously? Like if it's a joke or somebody says.
Yes, if somebody is joking, my dad is my first teacher. He said, whenever I do these talks, I should make people smile 20 times. That's what he has done all his life. But I don't intentionally try to crack enough jokes to make you smile. So I will, next lecture, we'll try to make it more fun. But what I'm trying to get at is
not. I'm just asking regular life.
No, that is what I'm saying. In regular life, when we are working, when we are taking care of our job or doing cooking at home or anything, we still find a reason to smile. If we don't have a reason, I think it is even better. If we can smile without a reason, it is even more directly a meditative experience. So my request to you is to smile 20 times. Whether you find a reason for it, don't find a reason for it. If watching comedy show, stand-up comedy on television is your only way to smile, I'm okay with that. But then think about that comedy show as you're cooking or as you're working. Find reasons, find ways. But if you don't find a way also, smile. That smile, I believe, is what differentiates or elevates us from other life forms. So that is what is consciousness itself, our ability to be grateful for life. So that the only way to express it is through a smile. Yes.
Anand, Jayashree is asking, if you are going to in a room and smile like that, somebody is seeing you at a distance, they will think I become mad like that. He is a mad fellow like that.
Good. That is why many people think I am mad. But despite thinking I am mad, I'm still getting patients who come and see me.
No, no, what I want to
people ask you,
communicate is,
Jayashree, why?
no, no, 1 minute, Anand.
Yes.
What Jayashree is communicating is, there's a different terminologies. Suppose if somebody cracks humor, some jokes, you sense it and smile. Okay, you may clap, you may smile. There is a reason why there is a something. If you're going to alone and smile, don't say like that. Be happy. Inner happiness is much more better than expressing as a smile. Be happy. That's all. Instead of telling them, smile 20 times. When your existence alive, be happy. Inner peace, you enjoy, be happy. That's all. But what Jayashree is asking, totally agree, Jayashree. No question expressing your nobody must even see you smiling. Don't need at all. If my mind is happy within myself, self-realized, I'm continued to be happy like that. The reason why one message why Jayashree is asking you, Anand, if you're going to laugh alone, it's not a correct thing. Smiling without reason, if you want to smile 20 times, no, that don't say that. Keep me be happy and peaceful within you. That is enough. No need to.
Maybe recollect good moments and keep happy about it. Yeah, doctor. Yes, doctor, I can hear you. Thank you. Yeah, it's clarified, and that's exactly what I asked. Thank you.
I must go into the depth of that, Anand. The smiling 20 times is whatever thing is going to be first self-realized. Be happy with what you have. That is enough. Why I want to say this one small clarification before we proceed, because Jayashree asked this question. We are all born with easiness, E-A-S-E, ease. And he has put it correctly, Anand. Our mind dispels easiness, then becomes D-I-S, ease, disease. So never allow the mind to dispel your easiness, be at ease, that's all. Over whatever thing, be self-realized and happy within you, that is enough. Don't, if you're going to ask, everyone will ask, how can I smile 20 times? Then what is that thing? What is the thing? Other things. So you think about it, Anand. Next presentation, you take the questions, one of Jayashree, because millions may be having the same, I have been having the same question. But this is interacting with you, what will be a better terminology you want to communicate. So don't simply spell. For example, there are humor clubs are there.
More slides, but let me finish this and then we'll have more.
Humor clubs are there. 1 second. Humor clubs are there to enjoy. But there are many laughter clubs. You are going to say simply laugh and clap. That may be giving exercise the muscles of the face. May not be really good to develop endorphins. So laughter is different. Smiling is different. You need to go in depth of it. Okay, proceed. Thank you, Jayashree.
What you're discussing is the logical mind's limitations. So what I'm asking is to even come out of the logic itself. Don't worry about who is looking at you when you smile.
Okay.
That smile itself is such a liberation. And I'm suggesting that you find reasons. If you don't find, that is okay. But still, when you make the habit, I believe there is so much, what I would say is, inherent happiness. Many of my patients say, Doc, I'm still working. I'm doing farming. I'm taking care of this work, this business. Once I retire, I will find the reason to smile. The reason I'm requesting people to smile in day-to-day life, that too in exercise, smiling, we talked about last week. How can we exercise and smile at the same time? That smile is not just a physical manifestation. When you're running or trying to swim, how can you smile inside a swimming pool? You cannot even breathe. So that smile is a symbolic way of expressing how we can connect. And that smile means relaxation. You can use it like that. But in physical way, if you smile also, that is, I think, a very easy thing to do. And don't worry about others looking at you smiling. Nobody is labeling us. All that is only our own perception, whether we'll be labeled as
no, it's for our goodness also.
Excellent. So let's finish some more slides. And then I don't want to, because that 1 hour time slot, I want to get this done. And then we'll have more time for discussion. After that, I am available for another half hour. Okay. So to cope with stress, the simplest request is smile, then find your priorities and find time for exercise every day. And flow, we have talked about, try to find flow in different aspects of day-to-day living itself, not only in exercise. Okay, so we covered what is stress. So it affects the heart through heart attack, stress cardiomyopathy, and then we talked about arrhythmia. So all these things are so much more increased in the COVID world. So we want to understand stress as a direct way of protecting our health. So then let us understand what is noise. So again, if you go into the discussion of specifically what noise is, I'm using it as a way to understand anything that distracts our focus. Okay, so this is what the decibel level of so many different influences are. I'm going to request you all to mute your mics if you can. I'm hearing some noise that may be disturbing people. Thanks so much. So faint noise is in a quiet room, busy road, very loud, and then car horns 110 decibels. So still people have not muted themselves. I'm going to see if I can mute everyone again. Okay, so this is just our day-to-day life. So what are the physical manifestations of noise itself? It is a stress that reduces cognition in children, their ability to grow. It causes stress disorders and sleep disturbance, heart rate abnormalities, reduces our immunity. Just being in a noisy environment, we may be more susceptible to COVID. Increases anxiety, mood disturbances, unhealthy hormone levels, high blood pressure, heart attack, blood vessel constriction, blood pressure elevation, adrenal levels, all these unhealthy effects just from being in a noisy environment. We all cannot go to an island just for ourselves, but we have to recognize how much just noise makes a difference. This is a picture I took day before, July 4th, Independence Day fireworks, very close to our home. Many of you may feel this picture is mediocre. Why is Anand bringing and showing this picture? This picture happened just before the complete darkness happened. This is another picture in the same camera that we were able to click once complete darkness came in. So what is the noise here? It is not the fireworks or the sound the fireworks makes, but for this picture, the noise is light. So sound is a noise. For this picture taking, ambient daytime light was the noise. If you look at the US population, 200 years ago, 90% of the population were farming. Even in 1930, a farmer would take care of 4 of his family members in his farm. Fast forward to 1960, 26 people were fed by one farmer. Today, one farmer is able to feed 155 people. What it has left us with is from 90% being agricultural, only 2% of the US population is really producing the food that the rest of the world is consuming. In India, the situation is similar. 100 years ago, only 10% were in the cities. Compared to 2030, we are expecting nearly half the population in India will be in big cities. So this urbanization is a huge shift that is global. When we say global, I wanted to go back 1,000 years, then 2,000 years. What I'm seeing is 2,000 years ago, the highest GDP was from India, which produced more than 30% of the world's economic output. Compared to current, in the last 200 years, thanks to British rule, Indian productivity has dropped significantly, whereas the US substantially increased, just with the European countries also continuing to contribute. So what I'm trying to show is, we are as society productive in different times, but this is what I would say information era is doing to us. Every 1.5 to 2 years, information is doubling. This is a tremendous increase in the amount of information that is available to us, and it takes only 5 years for it to become 20 to 30-fold higher. In the next 20 years, it is going to be 100,000 times more knowledge than we have currently in the information sphere. If we fast forward to 40 years, I don't even know this number. It is going to go up that much fold. So It took us 2000 years to come to where we are. The next 50 years, we are going to go places that we can hardly imagine. But this is our day-to-day reality when we go shopping and try to find food for day-to-day living. The word sugar is not used because people understand when we buy sugar, it's not healthy. So the word sugar is sold in all these different names. And if you look at the number of spoons of just sugar that is added to all these drinks, it is mind-boggling. But this is our reality. This is the place that we have to shop and find good health out of. So we discussed emotional craving, habitual eating, and we request you to find not only health, but also hunger itself as a way of being healthy. That's what we discussed, and how to connect with it. Once you connect again and again with it for a few weeks, you will find you're more naturally drawn towards the healthier food options, more whole foods, more plant-based, more fruits and vegetables, compared to habitual eating, which is the traditional cooking that Western countries we see. And we will more and more move away from emotional eating, which is the sugar and fat and salt-rich fast foods. So when I said noise is distraction, we covered how the physical sounds of the city living, light. Last week we heard one of my patients say for the last 2 years he's doing so much better because he took my advice and stopped going through the news. Then economy, marketing, all these things are selling us too many things. Society and government itself, we've given over the last 10,000 years too much, I would say, role in our individual life. By which I mean we still have to take responsibility for our own fulfillment and happiness, and we cannot expect any societal organization to make it a fulfilling experience, this life that we have. Same thing for language and communication. All these things end up being double-edged. Even our own thoughts and intelligence, to a point that helps us understand life, find fulfillment. Beyond that point, even our own thoughts become our limitations. So we understood what noise is. So it becomes more and more self-inquiry at a point. I'm sure you have a lot of questions on that, but just for the sake of completion, another 15 minutes, I'll try to finish up, and then we'll open it up for questions. So the last thing we want to discuss today is the role of silence. Both these are pictures of the world's best tennis player, Novak Djokovic. Here he is doing self-talk in a physical form. He is hurting himself and his tennis racket through self-talk. And here he is trying to find peace within himself. But both are aimed at only one object, being the world's best tennis player. So for him to compete in the presence of 20,000 people in real life against another opponent who is so motivated to beat him, he has to find that energy. So that is what is this self-talk arising from. So there is a lot of positive psychology and sports psychology literature on self-talk. We practiced it, I think, 2 weeks ago. What it is spending a few seconds to a minute, talking aloud to yourself, observing your own thoughts. That's all it is, whatever it is. Preferably, it should be something that is bringing you gratitude and fulfillment. But if you have negative thoughts, fears, anxieties, that's also really fine for you to spend a few seconds, few minutes talking aloud to yourself. Listening to yourself is the key aspect, the observation component. Self-inquiry is the process and the goal. I am is the goal and the final reality. To hold to it with effort is self-inquiry. When this becomes spontaneous and natural, then it is realization. This is what Ramana Maharishi says. This we have discussed, so today we won't go into too much more detail. But the ultimate goal is not to fill our logical mind with information, but our heart with fulfillment. So another way of expressing this is what I'm voluntarily asking you to find a reason to smile 20 times. But like people are finding different words for it. You give me better words, we'll use it for the next Heartful Living session. So Valluvar 2000 years ago said, Nandri marappadu nandrendru, nandralladu andre marappadu nandru. Instantaneously forget any harm done to you. Connect again and again and again with what gives you sense of gratitude. This he has said 2000 years ago, and it is, I would say, 1,000-fold more important in this fast-paced world that we live in. But I've left this gratitude in the x-axis for a reason, because that allows us to connect more and more with this fasting and ability to stay hungry and connected with no food intake. So this we've discussed earlier, so I'm not going to go into the health benefits, but very briefly, it reduces blood pressure, heart attack, reduces our risk for stroke. Not only that, reduces risk for cancer and dementia 20 years down the road for all of us. So fasting has got profound benefits. But to do that, staying hungry in the y-axis is not easy. அற்றது அறிந்து கடைபிடித்து மாறல்ல துய்க்க துவர பசித்து. Again, what Valluvar is saying 2000 years ago is, find healthy foods and eat only when you are really, really, really hungry. So he wants us to not go after sugar-sweetened beverages, Gatorade and Powerade and energy drinks and soda and things that are directly adding sugar and hurting our heart health. He did not have it 2000 years ago, but he probably predicted that's where we will move. That's why he said that. And the last thing is, ஒளி ஒருவருக்குள்ள வெறுக்கை இளி ஒருவருக்கு அதிறந்து வாழ்தும் என. What he is saying is, connect with passion. To even think you can live a life without passion is a disgrace to your intelligence. That's what he is saying. So being passionate, he believed 2000 years ago, was the only way for us to exist. This we cannot go and request any of our animal friends to do. But this is what is human consciousness. Our perception of gratitude, our ability to self-restrain, and thereby to perceive our life at its highest possible life, with full of as much energy as we can bring to day-to-day existence. So this he has given us 2000 years ago. So flow need not be in sports, arts, or trained efforts. Gratitude can be perceived by anybody who is 20 years, 50 years, 80 years, 90 years old, despite disabilities. And healthy people can slow aging through this hunger experience. And heart patients can reverse aging through high life. So this is what we are inviting you to connect with your passion. Thereby, this becomes your new way of life itself. So to finish off, the hands-on, growth-oriented mindset requires hard work and effort, and the belief that current status of things is not good, we need to make big changes. And we focus on material success. Whereas there is a similar successful way of life where by taking things at a slower pace, accepting life as it is, saying things are okay as they are, living a minimalist life, not trying to acquire more things into our homes, finding intrinsic drive, which is apart from any level of material success, that will move us more and more from doing into a being way of life. I'm sorry, it's interchanged. So yeah, it's correct. When we are trying to go after material success, it is doing. When we are intrinsically driven and find peace where we are, that is being. So this we saw as Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. First, we all need food, water for survival. Then our safety, which is a home. Then people, connections with loved ones, friends and family. Then we go after our self-esteem, power and recognition and money. Then actualization, finding our true creativity. And then this Maslow did not even discuss until towards the end of his life, when he realized there are some people who are driven by no obvious logical reason. They are self-transcendent. That means they are finding meaning in helping others and in what logical people find as meaningless. And he found they were actually even more happy than any of his Maslow's own hierarchy itself. They were transcendent people. So what I'm inviting you to recognize is through hunger-based gratitude experience, whichever is our primary motive, we can still reach to the highest human experience by simply having food that is ready, but postponing the eating experience by connecting more and more with the hunger experience. If you're insulin requiring diabetic or have eating disorders, this is not for you, but otherwise this might work. And then the entire high life journey, heartful living, or whatever word we use for this, is to connect us with our highest potential. Self-inquiry, which is what I think Maslow recognized, but our culture has recognized this for 5,000 years as inner evolution or self-inquiry or self-realization. So this we already discussed several times, the flow phenomenon, which is finding the right opponent, connecting for half an hour, working very hard on the tennis court and entering into flow. 1 in 10 times I can do that. But if anyone connects with gratitude and agrees to postpone the next meal by staying hungry a little longer with a smile, then we will be able to connect with passion every day, every waking day. If you don't connect with your passion, don't eat. Wait for another hour or two. Find that gratitude, find your passion, then go on with your day. You will find that today is so much more fulfilling. So this was the answer when, before we started, a friend asked how to find energy every day. If you can't find it right away, wait for a little bit, find the hunger, that itself is your energy. Connect with it gratefully. That's my request to you. So restart life, understand flow can be achieved every day when we find our silence. In the night sky, if you just step outside, there is no other experience you need. Just look at the clear sky. That is the most beautiful meditation into silence that you can do. Self-inquiry, life enrichment, and celebrating existence. That's what we have as High Life. And every day we request you in there to talk about either your work, your relationship, or some specific event and document it. And then document how many minutes you are able to sustain. 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes of being silent. This silence will do so much magic to restart and rejuvenate your life so that you can go ahead and connect with yourself more meaningfully every day through silence. So this we discussed. All this food that is being marketed to us every day through television and news media is at the conscious level. So dive down deeper into your subconscious, where you have so much more, 10 times more potential once you break through that barrier through creativity, through your own gratitude experience. And this is what we discussed. We practiced self-inquiry when we started today's discussion. Then we practiced stress by forcing our hands to clench our fist with as much energy that we could muster for 15 seconds. Now this is what I'm leaving you with, heartful living, which is connecting with your heart. Then the logical mind and its noise can continue to be there. Just like in our city living, the road noise is there, the television is still on. Despite all that, the distractions, we can still find our peace through meditation, through gratitude, through connecting honestly with people in our life with love and gratitude, through creativity, through sports, through the flow experience that we can deliberately try to participate in, through fasting and hunger experience, and connecting with our own ikigai. So all these are ways to connect with our own inner nature. That connection is the silence that we are seeking, minimizing the noise from the logical mind, and journey into ourselves is the silence that we all need. So I will stop here, and I think we have still 10 minutes. Excellent. So today we had a few chances to meditate, and we also answered or discussed a few things, but now we'll open it up for people who still haven't spoken. For the next 10 minutes, we'll keep it very brief question answers. Once it is 11 o'clock, then we'll open it up for an open discussion. So the next 10 minutes, I'm hoping to quickly answer about 10 to 20 questions. We can start, and people are welcome to unmute your mics, and we can have a very rapid fire type discussion, and then we'll go into a more detailed discussion. Thanks everyone for joining today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dr. Chapalingam. It was wonderful experience. I've been enjoying these sessions a lot. It's a kind of a rebooting and rejuvenating myself again. Thanks a lot. I need to leave. I'm sorry I have to leave early, but thanks so much.
Excellent. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, bye.
Anand, I've really enjoyed all your sessions so far, but I was so happy when you brought the concept of ikigai, which is a Japanese word. And I recently came to find out that that is the convergence of 4 primary elements. Basically, you need to find out, what do I love to do? What is my passion? And what the world needs, my mission, and what are you good at? And the last one is what I can get paid for, my profession. So once you find that component, I think you're all set. And I think that's what you have found yourself here. And that's why you're so successful. And we are all kind of attracted towards your course right now, is you have really hit the target very well. And the other thing I wanted to share is stage 3. What's the reason for smiling? No particular reason at all. I just smile because when you smile, there's only 17 muscles are involved. But when you frown, I think they say it's up to 43 muscles. So if you want to live longer, I think it's a good reason. Just smile for no reason. And I don't care who's watching me, or like Anand said, doesn't matter, just smile. And I think that's all I wanted to share today.
Good.
But thank you for bringing it to Ikigai.
Ikigai, we've been using for heart patients for the last 8 years. I've been talking about it. But more importantly, I'm using it as the primary focus to help doctors cope with burnout. Because doctors are 4 times at risk for suicide compared to the general society in the US. That is because their life pressure has dramatically increased in the last 2 decades. But as Sala said, when we connect with things that give us meaning and the world needs it and we get paid for, which a doctor does, and we have trained so much for it, we should connect with it and be every day able to wake up with Ikigai so that we can accomplish our day successfully. Excellent, Sala. Any other quick suggestions, questions in the next 5 minutes? People who haven't spoken so far? So I think everybody likes silence more than talking, right? So that is the reality. Beautiful.
And if there are no comments, just a minute, I want to comment.
Before you, let's see if anybody else wants to talk, but let's give them some more chance if people want to comment.
I was waiting. If anybody is...
We'll give 1 more minute. If nobody talks, then we'll continue our discussions. You can unmute yourself. Quick comments, suggestions. If you tried silence before, what it has felt like, how you're going to try it in your life.
Doctor, this is Jayashree again. I do try silence every day for 15 minutes. I mean, I don't know, I don't follow any kind of specific meditation, but I just keep quiet to myself, close my eyes, hold my hands together or in some yoga mudra, and I sit. The 15 minutes are relaxing and I feel rejuvenated in the morning. I do it for 15 minutes before I start my hectic day. So it also makes me recollect things, thoughts do come, but it really helps me to start the day at a good note.
Good. So excellent. You brought up that thoughts keep coming. So if you look at meditation, you may think if you are a true yogi, when you meditate, there should be no thoughts. That might be at a much higher level where you can achieve that. But the mind's nature is to be thinking. So don't worry when thoughts come. Just look at that thought and gently bring your attention back to the breath itself, or just being connected with the light in your heart, whatever you wish to do. But don't think, oh, whenever I get a couple of thoughts that I failed in meditation. No, silence is just a journey. It's not a destination. So moving towards it, it's a very relaxing and simple process. It's not very labor intensive or no, I'm not able to meditate. There's nothing. You can just sit for a few minutes. That's all it takes. I've been telling so many years, 5 minutes in the morning, sit down in a chair, get up and go to work. 5 minutes, doctor? Is that all you want me to do? That 5 minutes, I believe, has so much profound meaning. If we can just sit down before we start our day. Excellent.
Yeah, for me, thanks, doctor. The last 3 weeks have been great. I've just started the intermittent fasting and successfully the second week of 24-hour fasting also I did. And in fact, at the end of 24 hours, I never felt hungry. Suddenly I saw the time and I was like thinking, oh, it's already 24 hours, like, you know, but never felt hungry or any desperate need. And you relish food more now. You enjoy it when you eat it after a while.
So since we are talking about silence, I believe fasting is a beautiful way of keeping the body silent. When there is no input going into the body, that means for the body that is silence. And it is really helping the body recover and restart and be ready for the next busy day. Any other people who haven't spoken yet before? Because another 1 minute, it'll be one hour mark. If nobody else has, Dad can please continue. Yeah, I'm sure he has so many things he wants to share.
Nothing like that. And Jayashree Sara, what I want to say after hearing from you, and I'm learning a lot from you, 2 or 3 points. In Tamil it is said, Agathin Alagu Mugathil Thariyum. What I'm saying is, what your inner mind, it will express in your face straight away. Another thing is, when you start enjoying what you're doing, whatever thing, there's no need to meditation. Meditation is make you to be happy. If I'm already happy, there's no need to meditation. That's what I personally feel. You dissolve yourself in doing what you are and extract happiness from what is happening. And be happy with everything. See that the happiness is useful to self and others, to the society. There's no need. As a matter of fact, I never meditate. Then what I thought is, I made my life itself as a meditation. The moment you make your life as a meditation, there is no need to go and separately sit and meditate. Maybe for some time you may need to have that driving force to get to know what you are. The ultimate thing, as you said, is self-realization, happiness within you. Be happy, make others happy. That's all. My personal feeling is, every moment, be stressful, but keep the stress positive. What may be positive stress? Stress is a reaction of mind and body to the environment. And see that the reaction of mind and body to the environment is always positive. Keep the pendulum positive. That is only your mindset. If you allow the pendulum to go to negative, it is enough to kill you. So positive one to keeping it is our mindset by means of self-realization. And the positive stress is happiness from all happiness, whatever thing. It should be like that. That's what I personally feel. And any more comments, we can go in depth and then make it much more beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's the 1 hour mark. Excellent comments, Dad. Thanks so much. So now we are close to the session, so we can open it up for a open discussion. Any suggestions, anything you want to discuss, any questions, we can answer in peace.
Okay, doctor, sorry, I'm a Jayashree again, and this is when you use words like arrhythmia and stuff, right? I'm a non-medical person, so I really don't understand that. Maybe some easier terms, like, you know, whenever you use a stent or something, I could relate because that's like a layman word, and people do speak about a bypass and a stent, so we understand that better, right? You know, so maybe
what I was trying
some
to
explanation
say
for these medical terms will be good.
The heart, if it stops, we are not alive. That is the simplest thing. The only job the heart has is to pump blood. For it to pump, it needs a lot of blood supply. If that blood supply goes down, we call it heart attack. For it to pump 70 times a minute, it has electrical wiring. If that wiring overfires because we are stressed and goes at 200 beats a minute, that is what we call arrhythmia. So that is the pump function, the electrical function. And The other thing is the stress cardiomyopathy means the pump itself suddenly stops working. And that is because of mental stress. And that can be life threatening. We see so many patients with that problem. So all these things are direct effects of mental stress. And we take care of these people and get them better, get them home. But we want them to avoid that stress so that the next episode will never happen. And they can continue to live safely, healthily for several more years. That's the reason I bring all these things to this discussion.
And for Justice one Anand, nice thing she is asking. Normally 70 times it beats, you are not aware of it. You are breathing 15 times per minute, you are not aware. These are all the things autonomously occurring. The moment if it becomes irregular, instead regularly occurring beats become irregular or more, you perceive it as a palpitation, you are aware of it. Aware of your heartbeat is you as abnormal. This will call it as palpitation. Suppose if you exercise, you may be aware of a beat, it is normal, it becomes once again you are not aware. Suppose you are anxious, worried, tensed up, Anand was telling, it starts beating irregularly. Instead of 70 regularly, it becomes 120, 150 irregularly. Then every beat will be sensing, it becomes abnormal. Another thing is, as you are telling, and he is communicating, certain points you clarified. Another thing I want to include in my discussion, Anand, silence, Sala, is for you. Silence is the best way of communication. Suppose if we go to the class and we are going to be silent, I won't take any class, I won't be communicating my knowledge. So silence is the best way of communication. What our ancestors would have told is, if you are going to be in silence, there's a time given for you to understand what you are. And once you are in silence, we will communicate your mind, body, and soul, and they get connected. If you are going to be external noise to come in all the time, we will never allow the mind, body, and soul to get connected. So if you are going to keep in silence, isolated as you see in COVID or whatever thing, you must realize this is the best given opportunity for you in Corona, where you are at home and you are having no running or working like that. But you need money that I won't say this, the one should be extended. Certain points you must learn even from this COVID-19. So silence, best way of communication is constantly allow your mind, body, and soul to get connected and allow them to get communicated themselves when you are only silent. If you allow everything by visual noise or audio noise or whatever noise, we'll never allow all the things of mind, body, and soul connections will be disrupted. Once we bring all the three in line, mind, my body, my existence of soul, if I realize that, there is ultimate self-realization. What do you feel, Sala?
That's a very good point. I mean, for the longest time, I used to think that I'm just existing. And then slowly now I understand I'm living, but I'm moving towards celebration of life now.
Oh, excellent. Excellent, Sala.
We need to be towards celebration of life and not just exist. You know, we need to understand that. And then how do you do that? So slowly I'm changing a lot of small things in my life. I'm starting to find out all the creativeness that I lost in childhood. So I'm trying to do all those things now as an adult. It's not easy. It's a struggle every day, but then at least I'm aware of it right now. I'm trying to change a lot of small things in my life to better myself.
Excellent, Sala. Now there are several scales looking at countries' success. Earlier, we used to look at GDP and say economic productivity. Now, the world is moving more and more towards holistic happiness as a way of measuring a country's productivity itself. When you look at that, Bhutan and other countries may be even higher than most of the rest of the world. Some countries in Scandinavia, they are all doing extremely well. And the biggest mark they are giving is for people who are learning. That's what you're saying. I'm trying to find my creativity. So every time, every day, if we learn something new, It may be music, it may be art, it may be some book we read, something. As long as we keep acquiring every day, that means we are alive, that means we are happy, and we are moving towards that celebration of existence. Beautifully said. Excellent.
So Sala, as you said, life is a celebration. You must celebrate. That's the reason I don't believe in celebrating my birthday, my wedding day, nothing. There is not forces on one day. Existence, a life is celebration, I think is an excellent one. We all must do that one. What, Jayashree?
Yes, doctor, I fully agree to your views, right? But in one thing I'm slightly different. I think I agree more to Dr. Anand, because as you said, the whole life itself is a meditation and you have to accept it. Like, it takes a long time. I think the first step is what he says, that try your silence for at least 15 minutes in a day, because we are all, we are all flying every day from morning till night. Absolutely, there is no time for anything. So we actually make time in the day, and I decide that in the morning I have to do this, and I put it in my schedule, right? Maybe over a period of time it may become a habit, like what you said, but initially I think I will be with Dr. Anand, where he says that try and put these things as important in your life in every day. It's just a start.
I asked only
Maybe
5
we have
minutes.
a long way to go.
I asked only 5 minutes, but you are giving 15 minutes for meditation. That is excellent.
Yeah.
When I asked my patients, 5 minutes, you sit down. They said, Doc, I don't even have time to have food. Then how do you go to work? As I'm driving my car, I'm eating something on the car on my way to work. That's what people are doing. So the life is so fast. And many of my patients, if I sit down with them and ask, why do you eat fast food? The reason is they are so much in a hurry and it's inexpensive. Yeah. So if they are driving a truck across the country, their minutes are counted every how many miles they cover in a day. So they are so busy that the only opportunity is on their move. They have to quickly find inexpensive food, and that ends up being the empty sugar added stuff. So the reality is our body, mind, everything has to be aligned. But theoretically, sitting down and talking is easier. But in real world, if people have to find that too in this COVID world, it is going to be 10 times more challenging. But the simplest way is to again and again come back to our own reality, be grateful, and then find that gratitude again that will allow us to stay a little longer hungry. That hunger, I believe, will give us the, what should I say, the compass to say, yes, I'm going in the right direction. Then whenever you connect with any of the food that I showed you in the pictures today, even that food that has only empty sugar, that also won't hurt you that much. That is why I'm saying, find the hunger first, then you can search the food. Excellent. All this is still that same silence discussion. The entire Heartful Living 6-week series is a talk on silence. It's called different things. We call it hunger, we call it exercise, we call it compassion, whatever. Connecting with yourself is the real goal.
You also explained it very beautifully, doctor. Initially, when you don't try the intermittent fasting, I never I'm 50 years old and I've never tried any fasting whatsoever. In my house, any function, religious reasons, they will say fast. I never believed in it and I never done it, right? But not thinking that it's not, I actually thought fasting is a barter with God, which I didn't believe it at all. So, but after you said, I have tried this for 2 weeks, it's amazing. And I'm so thrilled about it because one, it gives me a lot of self-confidence because not only for this, it gives me confidence that I can try out newer things, which I never thought because I assumed that I may not be able to do it. Right. And it's quite easy. Once you get into it with conviction, I think there's absolutely no question of looking back. It's wonderful.
What you just said is being recorded, Jayashree. Why don't you shoot me an email with exactly what you said? That we'll post in our thing. Because when Anand says it is some doctor saying, but when some people who listen to this and they try it, the most important word you mentioned was what Sala said, that creativity is increasing, your energy is going up. Yes. That is what we are trying to do with life itself. In the big picture, everybody is transient. But in this time that we have, how to live more holistically, for that, this fasting will connect you with yourself. That way, you're doing it beautifully. There are only two things that can happen when you fast. One, you will give up the fasting or you will give up the eating as you continue to grow in this journey. I've given up the eating.
Yeah, I think I'm also giving up the eating only.
When I say give up, there is no voluntary giving up. It just naturally falls off. So once you reach a point and realize food itself is a distraction, I give it up. It doesn't mean I don't eat. I still enjoy very much the food that I eat. But the forced nature, oh, it's 12 o'clock, I have to eat, like that, I don't feel anymore.
No, and
Beautiful
it's nice. In a
journey. There's
restricted time,
only,
you also want to eat healthy.
yeah, this is an ongoing
You
journey.
also
We'll
feel
all
better.
get better.
Yeah.
This is so important for the next generations. Our children, they are at an even faster world than we are. For them, these things,
Right.
if we leave them behind, that will give them some sort of a roadmap to a human way of life, because they are going to be more of an electronic way of life, digital world. For them, these simple things may be so challenging. Even for my son, now he's a top state level tennis player. When he started at 5 years, he said, computer Wii tennis is so much more fun than going out to a real tennis court. I said, no, you come to the real tennis court and play. So that reality was challenging for me. But for his son, 20 years down the road, these tennis courts may not even be there. Everything may be in that 3D virtual world. So it is so hard for him to really show what his life was 20 years from today. So this is the challenge they have to face. But I'm glad today people are connecting so that we can at least share our life with our next generation, that they can continue to follow. Excellent, excellent.
Dr. Chalklingham, my name is Candy Fincher, Camellia Fincher is but I go by Candy. I have a question for you. In a past session, you were discussing how the water that you drink during fasting helps with your metabolism. Can you explain more about that, please?
Yes.
Thank
you. When we fast for, I would say after a good meal for 4 hours, we shouldn't feel hungry. Physical hunger, we will not get for 8 hours, 10 hours. What I mean by physical hunger is when the glycogen stores in the liver are sort of being depleted. That happens at around, they say 10 to 14 hours. So up to that point, we shouldn't need much of anything. Water, if we are exerting physically, we can need some water. But at that point, when the body is, for instance, let's take me. Yesterday afternoon, I celebrated with the chicken biryani. My son made it first time in our house. So I had very good Indian meal with plenty of rice and chicken, and was beautifully done. It's the food of the kings in India. So after a heavy lunch, I didn't have any more food until I woke up today morning. By then it was probably 18 hours. I don't know the math. But by today morning, I was hungry. But today I wanted to come to you in an empty stomach. I wanted to come with silence in my body. Then my body is asking for food. It's already past the 12 hours, so the glycogen is depleted. So I have to go into ketosis. Ketosis means I have to take energy from the fat cells in my body and use it as fuel for me to talk to you. I'm not trying to play tennis or bike. Just sitting and talking is all that I'm doing this morning. But even for that, the body needs to maintain energy levels. For that, I drank 3 glasses of water. That's all I drank. That water is needed. If I didn't drink the water, I'll have a headache. I'll feel a little jittery. The water helps the metabolism switch seamlessly into ketosis. Ketosis is not the food that we eat in the form of meat. Ketosis that I refer to is natural, and it comes from the fat that is in our body that we are metabolizing. For that, all that we need is water. And if I say smiles, my dad will not like it, but that's what I've been saying, smile and relax. Once you relax, that when you tell your body you relax, say, look in the mirror if you need to, drink the water and smile. When Anand sees Anand smiling, then it says, oh my gosh, this guy is not going to give me food. I better switch into ketosis sooner. That's that signal I'm giving the body. So that's what I'm using it for, and that's what I tell my patients.
Doctor, does the body go to ketosis only after 12 hours?
Yes, yes. Before that, it does not have a reason to go into that. Ketosis means it's going into its reserve fuel. Like, yeah, it doesn't have to do it. Food energy comes from the stomach as the glucose and the metabolism. Once the stomach is completely empty, which happens in 2 to 4 hours, then the liver has so much glucose stored in the form of glycogen. It goes on for another 10 hours. So after that only we can go into ketosis. But if you are on a mostly plant-based diet, you may go into ketosis sooner. If you're exercising a lot, you'll go into ketosis in 4 hours. If you're playing or running or swimming, you can go into ketosis much sooner. But if you're just sitting around, it takes about 12 hours to enter ketosis.
Dr. Anand, doesn't the consumption of water also help with the flushing of impurities from your body?
There's so many ways water helps.
Now, I have not done a 24-hour fast yet. By next week, I'm going to. But I have been doing a 14-hour fast every day for about 3 weeks now. And in addition, when I first came to you, I had already been fasting 1 day a week, Wednesdays, but a different type of fast. I limit myself to 600 calories. So I've been doing that as well. And so rather than do that, I'm going to do a 24-hour fast and see how it goes.
All of this are beautiful. Whichever your body is able to do comfortably with you still being grateful. See, we are not trying to force our body into some superhuman state. No, we are trying to connect with ourselves, make it easier for us to move through life. That is what this is all about. So I'm so glad you're having that 600 calories and you brought it to our meeting today. So there's no complete fast. Nobody's going to give us a certificate. Yes, you won gold medal. No, life goes on. We are doing our best possible.
I'm sure it won't be a problem. The thing that I was surprised by was how easy the 600 calorie diet was. I go through that without any problem whatsoever. So I'm sure 24 hours is not going to be an issue either.
In that 600 calories, if you can emphasize more of nuts and fruits and real vegetables rather than processed foods, your body will move more and more towards healthier things naturally.
Actually,
you don't need any doctor to tell you what to eat once you connect with hunger.
Well, my wife and I have both moved our diets to a more plant-based diet. I will always eat some meat because that's who I am, but less is better, and I recognize that. But when I started eating the 600 calories 1 day a week, a little over 2 years, probably about 3 years ago, I was very conscious about what I selected those calories to be so that I would have protein and so forth to help me get through it. And I found it really very easy.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Dennis.
Anand, Jayashree is there? Jayashree? Yes. Okay. From where are you speaking, Jayashree? Where do you stay?
Doctor, I am here only in Dungumbakam in Chennai. I stay in Haddles Road.
Very good. Just I'm asking because now whether you are in Arctic or Antarctic, you cannot find out. I only one comment I would like to make, Jayashree. When you are trying to say gradually, I'm going to step into that what Anand is saying, difficult reach of Kalingam. What is preventing you to be happy all the moment? What is the thing that prevents you to be happy? My simple thing is be happy. Yes.
No, it is not preventing to be happy. To recollect, like, consciously you have to recollect. See, in your daily chores, when you keep cooking in the morning and when you keep running around
don't make any attempt. Don't make any strain in your mind. My request is be happy with whatever thing you do. That's all. Let it become a routine.
Okay.
You understand?
I will try, doctor. Definitely I'll try.
What I want to say is, suppose a person is smoking 80 cigarettes per day. He comes to me, Chokkalinga, I gradually stop it. By the time when he stops smoking, he will die. He won't be no more. So it must be done abruptly, completely, totally. The same thing, if you want to be happy from this moment totally. That's all. Are you going to go and buy happiness in Saravana store? Get me 1 kilo of happiness. So happiness, your mindset of your living. So once the moment you are happy, that's how we are achieving everything. I find it difficult. Now I am now learning and nothing will disturb me. What you are living, you have to live. It is not that without problem, but you must know how to live with the problems. Convert the problems is a joy. That is the only thing.
Excellent, excellent. Appa, I think Anne has a question. We'll ask her to give a chance for her to talk. Anne? Brady?
Anand, I have a question. Radhika, I have a question.
Anne had raised her hand. That's why I wanted to see if she wants to ask a question before she leaves. Maybe she's already left the meeting. Okay, sure.
I just wanted to know, we are told sometimes that there's this, if you fast, you get acidity and ulcers and stuff like that. So I was just wondering, especially if you started at when you're older. So
No,
I
I
was just
don't think in reality it causes any trouble. We are sort of in fear that if we don't have a regular meal, the stomach will secrete acid.
yeah.
For that,
And you'll
it
get
is very,
ulcers and
yes,
you're
connect,
warned about so many things,
yes,
you know.
connect with gratitude. That's what
Right.
our religion has taught in so many parts of the world, that once you do it for religious reason, then you're already more relaxed because you're doing it for a higher experience. But whatever, whether you're religious or not, connect with something that you're grateful for. It might be your work, it might be your family, it may be a circumstance, grandchildren, whatever it is. Connect with something that makes you grateful and happy, and then you can continue it. Best thing is to have the food ready. So it's there besides you. You're still fasting until the body allows, or until you reach that particular point that you want to complete that particular day. And then you'll be in fine shape. It does not increase acidity, or it will not
Thank
you
you.
take antacids.
Thank you.
Someone asked about Ikigai. I wasn't able to find the slide. I don't know if they are still in the session or whether they have left. Panir Selvam had asked. I don't know if they are still here. Are they? Yeah, he's still here. So let me find a slide on Ikigai if I can.
Why Pannirchellam, Radhika, you are not showing your faces there? You want to keep it secret?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Oh my God, Radhika able to see you. What about Pannirchelvam? Good Pannirchellam, you are not showing your face.
Can you see the slide, everybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this is what is Ikigai. So it comes what Sala was mentioning, whatever we are good at, what we really love to do, and then what the world needs and what we get paid for. If all these four things align, then there is a much higher chance that in our day-to-day life, we can get into Ikigai. For doctors, we've trained for so many years that makes us good at this. We love taking care of patients. The world needs our service, especially in this COVID world, and then we get paid. So doctors should not have any reason not to have Ikigai. But unfortunately, in this day and age, there are so many distractions that move us away from recognizing this. That is what is going on. You don't have to be a doctor. We might be doing routine work or any mechanical work that is in a factory line where you are just one more piece of the big puzzle. But still, it is in you to find that connection. Be good at what your day-to-day work is and enjoy it from your heart. And then recognize the big picture, how your small role of tightening a bolt is helping make beautiful cars that might make people enjoy their life in turn. And obviously, we all need money to survive through this life. So find it in whichever profession you are doing. It does not matter what your line of work is. And what about people who have retired? So I get that question. How do I find Ikigai? The answer to that is, again, finding it through volunteering, through service. That's what we're going to discuss next Monday, what the ACE experience is all about. So there are 1,000 ways to find Ikigai while we are still productive and employed. And there are again 1,000 ways to find Ikigai after retirement. So life is beautiful with so many options, and we can keep finding this through our journey again and again every day. I hope I answered that.
And why it is known as Ikigai? How it came as Ikigai? Why that one?
It's a Japanese word. That word means the reason for waking up in the morning. That's all that word's actual literary translation is. It's but this is a book that was written. It's a Japanese concept. That's all it is. It's not in many other cultures. That's why people have talked about it. So we are using it. But it's been in Indian culture for several thousand years under different names. So it's just a way of expressing feeling worthy in life. Unless we feel worthwhile, that there won't be enough energy for us to get up and do anything, especially with the COVID challenges.
So I am Panniselvam. Thank you so much, sir, for answering. I'm last 2 weeks. I'm following your session. It's very nice. Actually, sir, Dr. Choklam sir asked me, want to show the face. So just for him, I am showing it.
In your face, Pannirchellam, there's Sasikala Gunasekaran is coming. Why?
Sir, me and my wife both are sitting together, sir.
Oh, fine.
Hi, sir.
Vanakkam, vanakkam, vanakkam. Good.
Okay.
Please,
So actually, yes, sir. Sir, I'm working here government Erode Medical College as a physiologist, assistant professor, sir.
Oh, very good.
It's very nice, actually. No, I asked for the Ikigai, what it is. Actually, I didn't understand. It is the first time I'm seeing it, sir. So I asked the sir to explain it. And even many things, sir, what he teaches. I learned the yoga. I completed a MA yoga, and especially under the guidance of Vedatri Maharishi. So in that, whatever he says, everything is there. Okay, the way of living itself, the gratitude, flow, everything, how meditation, yoga, everything. So I find very good that many doctors and other young people are doing it in different form. It's I'm very happy that at least now people come to know what is the meditation, stress, life, everything, sir. Thank you so much
We
to
are
bring
forced, Panneerselvam. The world
Yes,
is
sir.
being forced to learn this. Doctors are being forced to learn our Indian self-inquiry methods because world is getting so much faster. We need better tools for us to be able to navigate this fast world. And I'm so glad that with your experience, you're joining. Share your ideas with the email so that we can improve
Sure,
the
sure.
next session even more for the people we connect with.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Next question that I'm seeing from Cody is, do you recommend supplementing with electrolytes for exercise while fasting? So he is a very fit person. He is the main coordinator for our home-based cardiac rehab program at our VA. So he has just started. He has joined us today. And this question about exercising with fasting is actually a good way to gain the benefit of the fast and the benefit of the exercise if we combine the two. So after, I would say, 8 hours of fasting, if we do aerobic or weight training, our body gets more benefited. And we have to definitely watch out for electrolyte cramping issues. Typically, if it is going to last half an hour to 1 hour, the exercise session, and it's not under very humid or hot conditions, we might be able to just do it without any extraneous electrolyte supplementation. But if people are prone to cramping and they are used to an electrolyte supplementation, using that during the exercise or just prior to the exercise should be totally fine. Calorie is the one thing that we want to minimize to continue the fast through the exercise. If we give the body calories also, it really makes a lot of unnecessary changes to the insulin and glycogen levels in the body, which we don't want to induce just prior to the exercise. But if you can just give yourself some electrolytes to prevent cramping, that is totally fine. Excellent. Very good. We are at the 1.5 hour mark, so I'm still around. Dad, if you have any other questions, any other suggestions, anybody? Otherwise, we can call it a day. Amma, she didn't say anything.
Anand. On small comment, I don't know whether you all read this one. If a person takes 1 meal a day, is a yogi. If a person takes 2 meals a day, is a bogi, is a good body, okay. If a person takes 3 meals a day, is a rogi, is a body with diseases. If a person takes by chance 4 meals a day, is a drogi, he is destroying himself very fast. That's what he used to call in Tamil like that. Yogi, bogi, rogi, drogi, like that. Sala may be knowing, I don't know about that. But
Eating lesser is keeping the body. That's what yogis have said for thousands of years. But in our culture, we have said, okay, he's a yogi, he lives in the forest, it's for him, but we are living in the real world. For us, we need to eat like that society has thought. But now science is coming back and saying, no, what they did might be sufficient. Even if you are athlete, hyper athlete, you may not need too much of unnecessary, unhealthy things. We can still get the right amount of nutrition with the eating appropriate food in the appropriate intervals. Excellent, excellent.
Another thing I used to say, better to fast than living on fast food. And Another most important thing I'm seeing in the slides, in this one, Pannichelvam, when you are addressing, your picture is not that in the box of Pannichelvam, you come to the Sasikala Gunasegar. Oh, both of them. Sasikala is your wife, was it? Okay, we're sharing both platforms. I was a little confused. Another last comment I like to make, Sarah, you may like it. Now everything is fast. Fast life, fast food, fast communication, fast travel. For that, heart has to beat faster, and thereby life ends faster. You decide what you want to be to live longer. Okay, I really appreciate Anand and given some more time for my comments and made others to listen. I don't know how far it is useful, but I really totally appreciate Anand. You are doing extreme great job for our society, and continue your journey and take everyone with you. So globally make healthy and wealthy people. And another small comment, this Corona COVID now our life is totally redefined. What you lived so far may be false. What you're going to live, you don't know. Redefined from this moment and learn to live from this and continue a journey. Nothing must upset you. Thank you, Anand. I appreciate Sala, nice comment, Justin, and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle.
Thank you.
I want to give everyone one last comment, especially for Camellia Fincher. Are you in a vacation spot? Because I saw your background with palm trees and beaches over there.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I was. No, I'm in Columbia, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
University. Yes. It's a background app you can get. So no, I'm not in a vacation spot, much as I wish I were.
Excellent. Thanks so much for joining. Good luck. Enjoy the week ahead. We'll see you next Monday. Same time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care.